Make sure it's okay. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all for taking the time to come and listen to our pitch. For me, I'm in the United States right now in Washington, D.C., so it's early in the morning, but I know for all of you who are actually on Central Europe time, it's early afternoon. But I'll introduce myself. My name is Bianca, and I'm here to represent the AllAtlantic Ocean Youth Ambassadors and tell you about our initiative that brought us together and the work that we've been doing as ambassadors. So we're a team of 23 researchers and professionals from 14 countries, all connected to the Atlantic Ocean. And this initiative began with a summer school in Galway, Ireland in 2019, August 2019, where we ambassadors engaged and learned from political, social, economic, and scientific leaders to develop skills to become actors of change. The initiative was officially launched at the All-Atlantic Ocean Research Forum in Brussels this past February, with the main aim of the All-Atlantic Ocean Youth Ambassadors Initiative being to promote international ocean action and sharing knowledge, enhancing ocean literacy and the emotional connection to the ocean, as well as taking action for ocean protection. It's designed to empower youth to reach out by supporting campaigns with different target communities and experts. The program is developed under the framework of the Galway and Belém statements, as well as the Argentinian Administrative Agreement and the Mandela Agreement. And the young people who comprise this diverse group are addressing the challenge of the disconnect between civil society and the protection of our ocean, which is also known as the emotional deficit. This detachment between Atlantic communities and the ocean is the first and key development point of the Galway Statement. And furthermore, collaboration and mutual benefit is mentioned throughout the Belém Statement. It was agreed by the All-Atlantic Ocean Youth Ambassadors that at a critical point in time where the globe is facing a climate and biodiversity crisis, that we need to reignite the relationship between individuals and the ocean. In response to this, we have developed a novel approach to involve non-scientists and scientists alike in our campaign. And this involves three key components you can see here on the screen. The first being sharing, which is teaching the key principles of ocean literacy. The second being connecting, incorporating art, cultural practices, and storytelling. And the third is acting, directly addressing human impacts. So the 23 ambassadors, we all split into these three separate projects. But how do we remain so unified when geographically we're so far apart? The answer is stories. Every good project has a good story, but we're doing something new and exciting with global stories. We're collecting them from everyone we meet. We're asking people to take a selfie in blue, either with blue face paint like this lovely woman on the slide, in a blue shirt, or even in front of the ocean if you're able, and to post it across all of your social media platforms with the hashtag #MyAtlanticStory. We then ask them to post their selfie along with something that connects them to the Atlantic Ocean. Sorry, that's my dog. You can hear some stuff in the background. We encourage you to take a moment to check out our social media pages after this presentation and see some of the Atlantic stories that we've collected thus far and contribute one of your own. So just a reminder of those three campaigns, I'll start with talking about our share piece. So our first group is termed Getting to Know Your Atlantic, and this is our ocean literacy campaign. So to improve ocean conservation, we first need to understand how we, as a community, impact the ocean and how the ocean impacts us. That is essentially ocean literacy and ocean engagement. Because of its importance, ocean literacy is one of the main resolutions in the Belém and Galway statements, as well as in the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development. And we, as youth ambassadors, are fully on board. Our aim is to disseminate knowledge, increase interaction with the ocean, and empower stakeholders. We started with the disseminate knowledge piece by going to many different outlets with one goal in mind, ocean communication. This included local media, where we could speak through newspapers, radio, television, about the ocean, the science, and the urgent need for conservation that's mandatory to save our planet. We also went to universities, scientific meetings, and even informal places where ordinary people are, like pubs and bars. And in addition, we've created tools and information like the infographics shown here on the slide that are helping all of the youth ambassadors across the ocean. We then wanted to increase people's interaction with the ocean, and we're doing this through organizing and participating in different events like beach cleanups in Cabo Verde, educational field trips to the shore in Iceland, ocean youth engagement in Spain, citizen science in Argentina, touch tanks in Ireland, museum days in the US, and even a virtual World Ocean Day this past June, and those are just to name a few. We've also been seeking to empower stakeholders and citizens, and this also aligns with the goals of the UN Decade of Ocean Science, which is creating an accessible and transparent ocean. We started by talking to fishing communities in Europe that depend on the ocean for their livelihood and survival. We need to learn from them the knowledge not yet known to the scientific community, and we need to share with them the scientific conservation goals that can help make their livelihoods more sustainable. We've also been discussing with Blue Industry the need for open access data, and so far we've received positive feedback. We hope these data will soon be stored in an open data access repository for use by all. To date, we've participated in or organized 130 events, and today would be our 131st, and we've reached over 20,000 people. And yes, we've been slowed down by the pandemic, like most people have, but we haven't been stopped. We plan to continue our campaigns and also mentor the next group of ambassadors. So moving on to the next campaign, which was our Connect campaign. Looking at the Culture and Celebration Group, they basically represent the heart of the Atlantic. Our ocean is a hotspot of diverse cultures, traditions, and languages. And when in Galway for that summer school, we immediately recognized how diverse we are and noted our shared challenge. Our communities have lost their relationship with the ocean. So this campaign aims to create a wave of connection with the ocean and connections with one another. Studies by the International Union for Conservation of Nature have reported that cultural heritage is significantly linked to landscapes and waterscapes. Similar studies have also pointed out that by connecting with nature, individuals gain mental health and spiritual well-being benefits. The benefits of connecting with nature are documented. However, how can inshore and inland communities achieve it? We believe that shared multicultural experiences such as storytelling, recipes, music, art, carnival, theater, they'll all help improve participation and cooperation towards an ocean for all, as mentioned in the Galway and Belong statements. For example, one cultural story shared with us by one of our own youth ambassadors, Sinagugu from South Africa. Sinagugu grew up in a small village where coastal vegetation such as mangroves and reeds were regularly harvested for building huts and used as animal fodder. Her go-go, which is grandmother, often spoke about a mythical creature whose top half was human and bottom half was fish. Her name was Nkosazana Yaso Lawande. This ocean goddess was all-powerful and extremely beautiful, with skin like chocolate and the voice of an angel. When one encountered her, she had the ability to magically transform into whatever your heart desired. For some, this would be money, precious jewels, or really anything she could use as a tactic to lure you into the ocean. One day, a fisherman captured her daughter in a fishing net, and she unleashed her wrath on the villagers by causing floods and storms. And according to the tale from the elders, the only protection from her was to wear a braided bracelet of plastic that was washed out of the ocean. Because of these engaging stories told by her grandmother, Sinagugu ended up being the first person in her village to graduate with a master's in ocean science, and she will be the youngest and first woman to obtain a PhD. Among other activities to reach our communities through unique cultural practices, we plan to collect legends that are meaningful to the Atlantic community. This anthology of stories will be documented in podcasts, videos, and a book. We believe this will engage people from children to seniors, creating an intergenerational impact. It takes a community to save an ocean, Do you know your Atlantic story? If so, we'd love it if you would share it with us. We would love to document your heritage in our book. So the third and final campaign was our ACT campaign, focusing on human impacts. So our initial efforts were focused on the island of Sal, which is a small island in Cabo Verde, where the total population is around 35,000, but there's 800,000 beds available for tourists on the island. Our ambassador, George, from Sal, a native of the island, has become disheartened by the impact of tourists and wanted to address this problem with other passionate ambassadors through mitigating the effects of tourism on the environment. With this idea in mind, the Human Impacts Group is creating a certificate to declare a region as being Atlantic friendly. This certification would not only certify hotel chains, but the entire ocean community. So imagine a village where people go for their holidays. We basically want to certify that entire village. Because there's already an immense amount of knowledge and experience out there that we do not yet have, we've reached out to different organizations and industries for advice and support on this initiative. For example, we've talked to the World Wildlife Foundation, and we have their full support as they see this idea as cohesive and functioning. We have connected to seals that certify sustainably caught fish, to hotel chains, to scientific institutions, and also to peer-reviewed journals, which are on board to support us as well. To be awarded this certificate, the entire community in the tourist region would have to make efforts to do the following. The first is reducing carbon emissions, for example, by using locally sourced produce. The second is reducing waste and improving disposal by actions such as not using single-use plastics and having a functional wastewater treatment plant. The third is engaging tourists with the local ecosystems. This could be achieved through eco-tours that bring people out into nature and potentially getting them involved in long-term monitoring projects of the region. And fourth, engaging in ocean awareness. So not only conducting staff trainings to ensure local people know what they stand for and why their community is special, but also doing workshops for tourists themselves and providing them with ocean literacy. We know this is a really big idea, and while the case study at the moment is small and only on Sal Island in Cabo Verde, we hope to roll out the certification to many other countries touching the Atlantic, and who knows, maybe someday there'll be a certification for every basin. We, the youth ambassadors, have also had the unique opportunity to influence the scope of an initiative proposed by the European Commission, which is a mission to restore the health of our oceans and waters. This mission is partially inspired by Apollo 11, which put a man on the moon, but instead of shooting for the moon, this mission is reaching for the stars. Not the stars in the sky, but the starfish at our feet. An expert group chaired by Pascal Lemay has proposed Mission Starfish 2030, an ambitious and holistic vision to restore our oceans and waters. The objectives of this mission include filling the knowledge and emotional gap of citizens vis-a-vis our oceans and waters, regenerating marine and water ecosystems through increased protection and active restoration, achieving zero pollution, including litter, nutrients, contaminants, noise, decarbonizing our blue economy through industries like transport, energy, aquaculture, biotechnology, and creating an integrated and participatory system of ocean and water governance. This mission will provide a political push at both the European and global levels for better implementation of existing regulations by mobilizing stakeholders and local communities. And we, as youth ambassadors, are really excited to be involved. I hope our presentation gave you good insight into the work of the AllAtlantic Ocean Youth Ambassadors thus far. Our collective dream is to empower communities to become ocean guardians by increasing understanding, appreciation, and active responsibility for the Atlantic Ocean. I don't need to tell everyone at the Paris Peace Forum that the youth of the world have really stepped up this year. We're reimagining ocean climate action. And if you're saying to yourself, I want to join this movement, how can I? Well, there are a few ways. First, and most important, is for us to realize this vision, we really need your support and your investment. And second, you can join that My Atlantic story that I mentioned earlier yourself. Please follow us on social media at the handles on this slide, and get your connections to do the same. You've just heard about a few of the projects that we were working on, but there are so many more that you can get involved in. And if you take away one message from this presentation, I hope that it's our 3 initiatives and 3 main aims, which are share, connect, act. With your help, we could add countless new names and photos to our story. And as I mentioned, every good movement starts with a good story. And we certainly hope that you'll join ours. Lastly, please visit our homepage linked here. And if you go to this main page, there will be a little link in the top right for the youth ambassadors. And you can learn more about us, find your country's ambassador if there is one, and you can also encourage the youth from your country to apply for future programs. The call for the next round of ambassadors is still open in some countries, and if you or someone is interested in applying, please check out our Twitter feed where we're retweeting links to applications, and feel free to ask us questions. And thank you all so much for listening to our pitch today. All right, now we have some questions. Just gonna move my screen just a little bit. So the first question is, do you engage in partnerships for events with structures in Europe? And I also will be transparent. The other youth ambassadors in our group are on WhatsApp right now, and we're answering questions together. I might start with one that we already have. What are the main origins of financement of this project? So this initiative is funded by the Healthy Seas and Ocean Unit of the EU Commission. And yeah, it's a pretty simple question. But we're certainly always interested in our smaller projects and initiatives of getting outside support as well. Next question. Which stakeholders were difficult to convince to move to organic? So we have not experienced any difficulties yet with the stakeholders we work with. We're all on the same page concerning the needs for the project of the Atlantic Ocean for everyone's enjoyment. I have one question here, which is what to expect from the Paris Peace Forum. We expect to engage with stakeholders and leaders to advance our aims that I mentioned, and to connect citizens to the ocean and to foster ocean stewardship. There's another question asking, do we plan to replicate this in other states? And I assume that's also other countries. The Atlantic Ocean Initiative is already in 14 countries, like I mentioned at the beginning, all across the Atlantic Ocean basin. The EU Commission is involved in similar initiatives in other ocean basins. For example, recently there was an AllAtlantic Ocean Youth Ambassadors set up for Black Sea young ambassadors. And we would love other regions and oceans and sea basins to create their own youth programs so that we can continue to collaborate and protect the basically one global ocean. We realize it's one global ocean, as well as seas and inland waterways. Let's see if I missed any questions on this. Do we engage in partnerships for events with structures in Europe? I know that a lot of the ambassadors have been participating in all different types of events in Europe, as well as across the Atlantic Ocean basin. So specifically, yes, we do certainly engage in events. As far as partnerships, it's mostly with the organizations I've already mentioned. But like I mentioned as well, we're certainly always open to increased support. And I think that's the only way we're really going to achieve all of our aims, is to just garner as much support as we possibly can. And then a little bit more on that. The European Commission gives support to all the Atlantic Ocean Youth Ambassadors, including the European ambassadors and local partners and events. We look forward to doing many more, whether it's in Europe, South Africa, Argentina, Brazil, the United States, Canada. Oh, my time's up. Thank you all.